Barstool boss and pizza rancor, Dave Portnoy, I don't know, I'm out of my mind today, has blasted the race baiters who believe Caitlin Clark is only popular because she is white.
Monica McNutt just claimed Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's a white girl from the middle of America, not her record-breaking stats, not her revolutionary passing, not her logo three-pointers that change basketball forever.
That is a narrative that is very popular among the morons. Major moron, Monica McNutt, how she has a job, I absolutely know, at ESPN, said, well, you know, she's in the Midwest, she's popular, and let's face it, she's a white girl. Really? Okay, let's examine.
Monica McNutt stirred the pot, claiming Caitlin Clark's fame comes not from her record-breaking stats, game-changing vision, or deep logo threes, but simply because she's a white girl from Middle America. But Dave Portnoy isn't letting that slide. He came armed with cold, hard viewership numbers that completely dismantle McNutt's race-based narrative. And once the real facts hit the table, her entire argument crumbles. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan who sees through the noise, drop your city, state, or country in the comments. Let's show the world how far her impact truly reaches. Ready? Let's get into it.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
Let's talk about the bombshell ESPN analyst Monica McNutt just dropped, one that has basketball fans everywhere fired up. During an interview with BBC special correspondent Caddy K, McNutt made a bold statement about Caitlin Clark that instantly sent shockwaves across social media. What she said?
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
McNutt essentially implied that Caitlin Clark's massive popularity is driven more by her being white and from the Midwest than by her jaw-dropping talent or relentless work ethic. It's not just a bad take. It's a slap in the face. To anyone who's actually watched Clark play next.
So she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Here's the reality. In her rookie season, Caitlin Clark averaged 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game. Those aren't just solid stats, they're elite. Her court vision, limitless shooting range, and next-level passing have redefined how women's basketball is played, and the numbers don't lie. The Indiana Fever are set for 41 nationally televised games next season. Networks don't hand out primetime slots based on where a player is from. They do it based on who moves the needle. And Caitlin Clark is doing exactly that.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. They're coming to watch the other girl, right? Right?
Bang!
Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that?
Bang!
Angel Reese attempted a three this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
Hey, you want some butter with that bread? Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
McNutt's comments completely overlooked the highlight reel moments that made Caitlin Clark a household name. Those jaw-dropping logo threes that defenders can't guard, the no-look passes that defy logic, the clutch plays under intense pressure. None of that has anything to do with being a white girl from the Midwest. It's about skill. It's about poise. It's about changing the game.
Steve, there's actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional.
Bang!
People need to understand she saved this league.
Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money.
The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy.
Time to be grateful.
Bang!
93% of her games on national TV.
She's like that! Bang!
Fans across social media were quick to call out McNutt for downplaying Caitlin Clark's accomplishments. One user nailed the flaw in her argument perfectly. If being white and from the Midwest were all it took to become a basketball superstar, we'd have dozens of Caitlin Clarks. But we don't, because what sets Clark apart isn't where she's from. It's that she's a once-in-a-generation talent.
Ella Dunn, Sabrina, Brianna, Kelsey, Diana Taurasi. You had and have these white players in the league that never galvanized the people like this. All right. Now, granted, you can have some people come back and say, well, the media and the coverage wasn't as good as it is now. NILs and things like that weren't popping off. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it, man. If they were that captivating, they would have got the eyes.
Suggests that Caitlin Clark's unprecedented impact on viewership stems more from her racial background than her transcendent skill set isn't just wrong. It's a disservice to the game itself. It diminishes the legacy she's building and disrespects the countless young athletes of all races and backgrounds who look up to her as proof of what's possible through talent, dedication, and heart.
But honestly, the main reason is because of her talents. It's not because of her race. Her race has nothing to do with it. Especially with kids. She's saying kids don't see color, man. The kids that I grew up around, and when I grew up as a kid, I didn't see color, man. I did not see color. I didn't care about color. I didn't know what color was. I just knew you were a human being and I was trying to be your friend. It's kind of a crazy, nonsensical take to say that kids were looking up to her because she...
What most people don't realize is that Monica McNutt's comments about Caitlin Clark's race aren't just a one-off hot take. They're part of a growing pattern that feels like a calculated effort to discredit her at every turn. The receipts? They go back to September 2024, when McNutt made the jaw-dropping claim that Clark deserved only 60% of the credit for the Fever making the playoffs. Let that sink in. The Indiana Fever hadn't seen the postseason in 6 straight years before. Clark arrived. She changed the trajectory of the franchise overnight. And yet, in McNutt's eyes, the rookie who led the turnaround was barely worth more than half the...
It's been spectacular and exceeded expectations. The pick and roll between Caitlin and Aaliyah has been fantastic. Kelsey Mitchell is having a career year, and all of those role players get a slice. I don't know quite how...
Well, that's a lot of pizza pie. I get you. But there's got to be one big slice, and that's Clark. What percentage are we talking about for Caitlin Clark? 80%, 90%, 95%?
Listening to her all season long, I've called a couple of their games. She's team first. Statistically, you're probably looking at least 60%.
This bizarre 60% assessment becomes even more suspicious when you compare how McNutt discusses other star players. For anyone not named Caitlin Clark, McNutt is quick to give full, unreserved credit for team achievements. But when it comes to Clark, suddenly it's time to slice up the credit pie. Then came the Rookie of the Year debate, where McNutt vocally backed Angel Reese, despite Clark's clearly superior statistical case. McNutt's reasoning? Team success should be the deciding factor. Hold on a second. Wasn't this the same analyst who refused to give Clark full credit for her team's success just a moment ago? The contradiction is glaring and impossible to ignore.
You would have the Sky in the playoffs right now, which means that Angel Reese, in theory, has impacted winning in a greater way. But I think the double-double streak that she's on, the 8 consecutive double-doubles, for Caitlin, she's leading rookies in points, minutes, and assists. There was terrific stats put out over the weekend by our colleague Michael Vopel about the percentage, about her being the player that has seen the most blitzes in the league. And so she's navigating a different level of defensive intensity, and rightfully so, because she's playing a point guard role for this Fever squad. So I think today, looking at the standings, you probably tend to lean Angel.
Basketball fans have noticed this pattern too. Social media has exploded with calls for ESPN to fire McNutt, as countless posts highlight her ever-shifting criteria for greatness. When Caitlin Clark puts up historic numbers, McNutt shifts the narrative to focus on team success.